We have here 5 beautiful French bébés from the golden age of bébé making, the 1880s, and wonderful examples wearing original costumes. And I wanted you to see them so you could see what they look like. The very, very typical colors, for example, ranging from the rose, soft rose, to the aqua, to the, again, soft rose, to the ivory over here, which is a very, very clear example. I have 2 Bru bébés. I wanted you to see these, not just for the costuming, but I wanted you to be able to compare them and see. I had someone call me and say, well, I'm interested in one of those Brus. Which one should I buy? And of course, my first question is, well, do you like brown-eyed or blue-eyed? And then that was a dilemma because actually this person likes both. So I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. You just have to decide what you like. So I put them side by side to you. They look alike, but they are different. And that is the wonderful thing about the antique bisque child dolls made at this period, because each was hand-painted. Each had different type of eyes. Each had slightly different nuanced looks. Yes, the same mold, but one might be first from the mold, one might be 20th from the mold. You're going to get variations in the overall look of the doll. And what you need to do is, this is why I always tell people to try to stand still. You're shaking. You're nervous, aren't you? Okay. I always tell people to try to look at many dolls as you can, because you will know the face that will speak to you, that will call out to you, this is the one that I want to live in my house, that I want to come in and look at every night. So you have 2 choices here, and I have there's no right answer. By the way, one thing that's very good, and I will show them to you on her, I'll just pick up one to show you so you'll see what they like. They both have shoes that are signed Brujon Paris, and that is their very, very typical signature on them. And if you can find your Bru with its original signed shoes, that's a big bonus that you want to look for. Early model Jumo. This is the earliest period of the EJ, made for like 1 year only, and wearing an extraordinary original costume from the Onan Bleu shop in Paris, which means this doll has everything in the world going for it. She's beautiful. She's a rare model. She has a wonderful costume. She has her original body, and she's extremely rare to find, and she is in beautiful condition. What more could you possibly want? And I'd like to show you her costume all the way around, if I might. Oh, look at this profile of her face I'm seeing as I turn her around. I hope you can pick up that a little bit too, because that really, coloring is just wonderful. I always like on these early dolls that they have their eyeshadow is like a mauve color. It's a very, very, not just rose, but with just that delicate, I hate to use the word eggplant because that sounds awful, but it's like just mauve, lavender coloring on them, just beautiful. Wonderful shading of her lips, and as I'm turning it around, I hope you're looking at her costume. Absolutely beautiful, including the original parasol. And then we have another wonderful Jumo that has her original Jumo dress, couturier dress, made by Emile Jumo's wife Ernestine in her own studios in the factory. She ran the part of the company that did the costuming for the dolls, and it said that every 6 months she would, just like the fashion designers would issue their new clothing for people, she would issue her new clothing for children. One of the things she insisted on was acquiring the finest fabrics, and that's why so many of them have held up well over the years. Look at the detail of construction on this one, the little inset paneling with the gathering at the top of the sleeves, the extra cording around the edge of the cuffs. All of these little details make the difference, little subtleties that were so important and precious to her. Just a wonderful, wonderful doll. And her original signed Jumo shoes as well. And then this beautiful little Steiner with this very sweet dress. It almost looks like I think of it as a shepherdess dress, because to me it's like that style, but yet she is a child doll. I'm going to show you in the back, and while we're looking at that too, be sure you look at the bonnet, which is absolutely wonderful. So many times when you're looking at dolls to choose which one you like, look at, they have a bonnet. Look at the front of the face with a bonnet, but then also turn it around and look at the back of the bonnet, because you'll see so many wonderful details. They were made to be observed coming and going. So when they were walking away from you, you would say, wow, there's a beautiful hat on that person. Maybe that's a beautiful person or a beautiful doll. So the design would be done that way. But a very, very lovely, lovely doll. We have a nice collection of automatons in the Bittersweet presentation auction. So I wanted to show you 4 of them that I find especially charming, with wonderful music and different types of actions, and even more, original costumes, because that's what we're talking about right now in this segment. And with automatons, it's wonderful to find them originally. We're going to start with this wonderful papier-mâché clown. Notice the little painted decorations on his face. He's seated on a stool. He's wearing his original silk costume with these very colorful sort of abstract Art Nouveau style flowers on them. And when I put him to music, keep your eye on his tongue. Notable for the number of movements he has. The leaning forward is one that you rarely find. The head nodding and turning, the tongue moving in and out, strumming the instrument, lifting his left arm up and down, and his hinged knee and tapping his foot. Wonderful melodious music too. I like to stop it at a right chord of the music. It doesn't always happen. Okay, here we go. We have the dancing Spanish lady. Are you ready? So she's tilting from side to side at her waist. Her head is nodding and moving circular. She's shaking the tambourine in her right hand, and then she lifts her left hand and shakes the bell that she has in that hand. The beautiful portrait face on this doll is quite hard to find. Move on to the classic, beautiful little Jumo type doll in the Automatons, commissioned Jumo to make these. And before we play it, I want to turn it around and show you the costuming again, because this is the quality of costume that you find on the Jumo dolls. And this is very, very fine. Beautifully stylized and well preserved. And we'll bring her around and you will see how wonderfully she works. She has a little surprise in the basket that she's holding. You can see. Little bird flitting its wings back and forth. Beautifully done. Fabulous bonnet. She nods in appreciation of it. Blows kisses. And finally, for fun, something you never see in schools today, the child who is decided to be named the dunce. But there it was, and they had that in France, and here we have the professor who is trying to teach the rest of the class, and he has a mischievous little boy kneeling. He's in trouble, and so he has to wear the donkey ears as punishment in front of the whole class. good piece, interesting piece of history, how times have changed, and it is amusing, I will tell you, because I want you to watch the ears when we play this. Great, robust music on this, too. I wanted to show you 3 wonderful dolls in their original costumes, staying with that theme of showing you some rare dolls that are made even more special because of their original costumes that are featured in Bittersweet. On this side, we have this wonderful little boy. It's a Cameron Reinhardt Mein Liebling. It's their 117 model, and he's wearing this great costume, khaki with red piping. He has his little toy sword at the side. A toy. I'm telling you, it's a toy. And he has his little suede sack at the side, matching his leather belt. A wonderful example of the Mein Liebling in a great original costume. Who doesn't love a Tyrolean boy? How could you ever have enough of these? This is totally, totally original, ranging from his shoes to his leggings to his Tyrolean cap with a little feather and the cording with the pom-poms coming down. He has his suspenders, his Loden green jacket with the wooden buttons, and his wonderful little pants with the lacing at the side. Absolutely fabulous. And finally, our cover girl for Bittersweet, a very, very rare character by Simon and Helbig. This face expresses the entire theme of Bittersweet for doll collectors. The sense of joy and pleasure and peace when you acquire something that this beautiful and this peaceful looking to have in your home, the sweetness of it, and then the bittersweet when you pass it on to someone else at a later time. The doll has lived before us, she'll live after us, and that is both the privilege and joy of being a doll collector and the responsibility that we are holding history in our hands and we need to save it for the future. And in that regard, I wanted to show you one doll that for the new collector who said, "What is there for me?" This is an example of what is there for you. And it has a special little poignant touch to it, which is why I saved it for the last doll in the catalog, the last doll in the presentation here, Bittersweet indeed. A wonderful little German bisque doll in her totally original dress, again, original dress. And I found this note underneath the dress, German bisque child, made by J.D. Kestner, and in quotes from Lorna Lieberman, talking about her doll collecting. My first doll purchase, 1973. So there's history in the making. Bittersweet indeed. Thanks for watching. I hope you can join us, and I would love to meet all of you. Please come up and say hello to me, and we can talk doll history. Thank you so much.